So,
All right, we are on the call. So this is very fun today. What I'm doing today is I'm actually getting on Josh, who was on my program for a matter of months and made an unreal transformation. So I'm going to be picking his brain today and learning all about his starting point and how he made such great results. And we're gonna get some amazing takeaways today. So first of all, Josh, what's going on, dude? How are you?
I'm pretty good. How you doing, man?
Good. So what's really cool is that in the Kinobody community online, when someone joins a program, there's Facebook groups and forums, and you've been in there like crazy, helping people out and giving some motivation and keeping people going, keeping them on point, man. So I just want to say thank you for that.
No problem, man.
So let's
I really figured that the Facebook community was like a huge testament to how I was able to get as successful as I was or as I am. The people like Zach and everybody there are just phenomenal. Like, you cannot find better community just to learn more about the principles that you teach anywhere else but that group. And I feel like a lot of people kind of miss out on that too. They just say, oh, it's just a Facebook group. That's like not shit, but it's really so much better than people may think it is.
Right. Yeah. You know what? Not too long ago, the Facebook group got a bit insane. And we brought on Zach on the team, and he knows this stuff very well. So he monitors it all. He answers everyone's questions. So it gives people so much help. So first, I want to kind of paint the picture. Funny enough, your last name is Painter, so pun intended. But let's paint the picture, and let's go back before you started this Kinobody journey, because you were in a much different shape. You're pretty big now, pretty strong and muscular, and you have good definition. But what is it? 6 months ago, you didn't.
6 months ago, I didn't even have a gym membership. I was in my backyard doing push-ups and stuff off of your bodyweight program.
Okay, so you're doing the bodyweight stuff 6 months ago.
Yeah.
When did you first start?
I first started March 1st. Well, I think I bought AFL on like February 28th, and I was like, okay, March, I got to do this. I got to step it up, because I had such a bad past, January, February, just terrible. And I just really, really wanted to kind of get myself back into a good mindset. So I was into the Eckhart Tolle and everything that you were teaching. And it was I was really skeptical at first, because how could I not be? You're just some insane marketing on YouTube. And then I kind of looked into everything, and I was like, wow, this actually makes a lot of sense.
Right.
And it kind of set me up for what I needed to do pretty well.
Yeah, that's the thing is sometimes people will see this and be like, what's going on? Is this just some guy that blew up off the map? I've been studying this fitness thing since I was 12 or 13. And then I was like, I got to blow this stuff up. It works so well. So we started teaming up with a film director. And we started making these cool ads to blow up the company. But that came much later. So 10 months ago, roughly 10 months ago, it was March 1st. You were skinny fat. You had, I'm gonna just kind of rip on you a bit. But you were skinny fat. You didn't have much muscle. You had no chest, and you had you had no abs.
Mm-hmm.
And what's remarkable, in a short period of time, you got leaner, you got stronger, you got more muscular than ever, and you actually achieved results in less than a year, which most people probably takes them years upon years and years. So what was really the key to that transformation? And what in the very beginning, what really motivated you to get to build an awesome physique? Because I always am curious about that catalyst. What makes someone hit that point where it's you know what, now I'm going to go for it? What drove you?
Basically, it kind of went down like this. And I used the transformation picture I used wasn't even in my worst state. My worst state was January 1st. I took a picture with me and this girl I was with in a hotel room, and I was looking at myself, and I was like, wow, I look terrible, just horrendous, So I was like, okay, well, I need to figure this out, because I was up to 196 pounds, give or take. I was probably a little bit higher, but I'm just, being generous.
How tall are you? You're 6 foot or
5'11"?
5'11", okay.
Mm-hmm.
196, 5'11", and that was before you started lifting. So you were predominantly fat.
Yeah. It wasn't. I didn't really have much strength either. I mean, I mean, I didn't do anything to like earn any strength. I think I went to the gym like once with my mom, and I did like some half-ass rows with like 15 pounds on each side. I don't know what I was doing, but I looked cool, so I was like,
What
whatever.
were you doing? So what was the row thing you were talking about?
Oh, I might have went to the gym with my mom, like
Okay, so you went to the gym a few times, just screwed around. You know what you're doing.
yeah, like I just kind of like went on the treadmill and like because I was trying to prep for the military, so I was like doing,
Yeah. So then we'll get into some stuff, but I want to make a little note right here. There's this big push in the mainstream media everywhere. This body positivity, love yourself wherever you are. I say screw that shit. Get to the point where, like, you know what? I'm not happy with this, and I will not settle for this. I want to look amazing. And if you don't have that realization, you're never going to have the motivation. But too many people, they're like, they just are like, oh, I want to be happy with who I am. It's like, screw that mentality. Build a great body. You're healthier when you're leaner and stronger. You're not healthy when you're out of shape, 30 pounds, 40 pounds overweight and skinny. So you hit that point where you're with your girlfriend on New Year's and you looked at yourself and you just kind of were like, really, this is what it is? And you're young. Imagine if you went down that direction, what you look like when you're 30, 40, 50. It would only get worse, and it would get a lot worse. But you cut that shit, eh? You're just like, today, like this year, 2016, things are going to change.
Exactly. But unfortunately, it took until March for me to actually get in there because I was so like just scattered. I had like a really bad concussion for the entire month of January. February, I went out of town for an entire month with like 18 inches of snow, playing with like a greenhouse, like construction business. And then once I finally got home, I was like, okay, it's time to settle down. And what really got me through it all, what, gave me that motivation was just watching your videos. I think I've watched like, where you were in like terrible lighting with like, it looked like an iPhone, and you were just sitting in a chair talking about things that your programs eventually talked about. And it's crazy because all the information that are in all of your programs are in every single one of your videos. If somebody would take the time to actually pick apart each one, you just learn so much.
Don't tell them that. No, I'm kidding. No, I mean, yeah, I pretty much cover in-depthly. Like, I cover a lot of stuff in all these videos, but everything is free online.
Exactly.
What makes it successful is piecing it together. It's giving them a plan of attack, giving them 6 months of workout progressions, and so you essentially, when someone joins the program, they're joining and they're paying to have that accountability and that absolute structure to follow.
By paying for it, it just sets a whole new playing field. It's like, okay, well, if I pay for this, I need to fulfill what I did.
Well, because I remember when I was younger, I bought tons of different fitness programs, tons, and I would see these posts online, or I'd see these different figures, and I'd read all their free information. But when you try and do it on your own, it can be very difficult to get the right idea. It's like when someone's trying to explain this philosophy to you. He's trying to explain some big idea to you, and you're like, I kind of get it, but I need examples to actually know how to do it.
Exactly.
Like someone could tell you like, okay, here's how here's the keys to building a business, this and that. But it's like, hey, wait, I want to hear like an example of like what actually goes down. And so that's kind of like the benefit of the programs and stuff. So you saw my videos. You saw my videos all on YouTube. You're watching them, and then at a certain point, you decided to join something.
I think it was the whole American Psycho thing you did. My mom absolutely loves that movie, and I actually watched it after I saw that because for the first time, and I was just like, okay, that's awesome.
So the main one?
What?
Yeah, nice.
And I was like, okay. I was like, I really need to do this because you look awesome. And I was like, I need to, be like that. And then once I bought the program, I immediately went in the Facebook group because I'm like really big on like the social aspect of everything.
Aggressive fat loss or the warrior shred or body weight, regard.
Yeah, Project Fit. No, Project Beach Rit.
Yeah, you joined the Facebook group, Project Beach Rit. Which program were you following?
Yeah. I was following. I had bought Warrior Shredding, but I was I went through everything, but I just didn't feel like there was enough there. So I also bought the aggressive fat loss program, and that pretty much tied everything together to where I was like completely like knowledgeable of everything.
The AFL, the Warrior Shreds, you can do like really
And then I
fast.
went into the Project Beach Rip group, and that completely like changed everything. Like I had any like little shredded out, any problems, immediately go there and get help right there, answered, everything cleared up. And just the amount of value that's in there is just incredible.
Yeah, we renamed the group. We can't tell anyone. It's private. Can't tell anyone. It's a new.
Oh yeah. I know what you're saying.
So what really helped you lean down and build muscle? Because you actually, what was interesting was you lost a lot of fat, but you also seemed to put on some good muscle. So what were really the keys in the programs that really worked for you and that you responded well to?
All in all, it's just consistency. I could go back on my phone and tell you exactly what I ate, 5 months ago on this exact day. I know every single thing I ate. I had every single thing I was training wise written down. It was just always having something, getting something done. Nutrition was always on point. Workouts were always getting progressively better. I never let myself stall at one point throughout the entire thing because I wanted to always push myself a little bit harder than I could every single time.
So that's a really good point. So what do you have to say to people that are like, oh, they fall off the wagon, I'm not consistent with my workouts, or I'm too lazy to track everything? Because you were like a boss at all this stuff. So you killed it. So what what do you have to say to people that kind of screw around a bit?
What I try to tell everybody that talks to me about all of this is, a month isn't enough time. 2 months may not even be enough time. If you're messing up or you're just not 100% on everything, just keep going and just strive to be better, because nobody's perfect and nobody's going to have a perfect time. I was lucky because I was able to have that mindset and have people around me that were letting me, make better decisions and not letting me, screw up and stuff. And I had a really good mindset, but not everybody has that, So by developing a good mindset, a good, self-image of yourself is always going to really help get that dedication and consistency down. And it's not, some people don't always have that. It takes time and time and time, but some people have it right off the bat, Did
you find the whole setup enjoyable?
Yes.
What was your experience with intermittent fasting?
Oh man. I think I first learned about it whenever I had watched a video of Brandon Carter. Mm-hmm. And he said something about doing a 24-hour fast every Sunday. So I was doing that. I think I did. I remember I was practicing intermittent fasting because I didn't know what it was, and I thought it was some magical thing. And Super Bowl Sunday, I did a 24-hour fast that entire day, and I was absolutely miserable because all this food was around me, and I was really not letting myself eat. And that was I think that was the end of January. Mm-hmm. And after that, I was okay, I need to figure something else out. But then whenever I looked at your program and everything and watched the videos about it with the coffee and fruit and all of that stuff, it kind of made it so much easier. And then I had a job where they make me eat lunch at a certain time every single day. I would just skip breakfast and then I would eat, coffee because we have free coffee and everything was great. I was able to really drink 24 cups of coffee, little cups that big of coffee, to keep myself satisfied until it was time to eat. But it was hard at first, but it was able to ease into it like most people will be able to. It's just kind of adapting your body to such a strange way of eating, because it's not an everyday thing.
That's strange. I feel it's so normal. But for me, it took an adaptation. For me, it took me 2 weeks for my hunger to kind of adapt a little bit. Mm-hmm. I remember at a certain point, it was brutal. I would get so hungry, and it would be 1 p.m. I'd be starving, and then eventually after 2 weeks, it got a bit easier. But then it probably took a full year for it to become absolutely effortless.
By the end of my cut, it was completely effortless to the point where I was able to do it just like that. I would just drink, a gallon of water throughout the 6 to 8 hours. I would be fast throughout in the beginning of the day. Mm-hmm. And then I'd be cool for lunch and everything. And then dinner, I would just have something really small just to kind of end the day off, But whenever I started bulking and everything, I had to completely cut it out just because my appetite just does not let me wait so long to be able to eat so much food. Because
When you're lean bulking, you do a morning breakfast or?
I usually I work out really early, like 4 a.m. every day. So I usually have like something small, like a banana, like a protein shake, something like that after I work out.
Yeah. Okay.
And that holds me till, you know, a little bit later in the day, like around 11 o'clock noon. And then I really go into like eating, but just trying to train on an empty stomach and then maintain that afterwards was just brutal.
Yeah.
Especially with whenever you're bulking, you're training so much harder because you have so much extra energy and carbs and all that stuff in you. You just want to like just go like crazy, you know?
Yeah. No, that's a good strategy. So overall, in the 10 months, how much muscle did you gain? How much fat did you lose? How did your lifts change? Let's get some. It'd be cool to get that data.
So let me get into this real quick. All right. So
in March now, you're like 185.
No, I'm like 190. I'm between 195, 197. Sometimes I'm 193.
It's the same weight that you started at.
The weight that I started with my bulk was 170.
No, I mean 10 months ago.
Oh, about the exact same weight I'm at right now.
Yeah. So what was the lowest you got to?
The lowest I got to was 170. And I didn't go any lower just because I couldn't do it.
Kenny, you cut like 27 pounds of fat, but you probably lost more fat because you actually gained muscle. I saw those pictures. And then you put on some serious muscle then.
Yeah, I put on a lot. I mean, I put on a lot of weight, and I admit like a lot. Some of it was fat because I was doing like a lean bulk, and then I was like, okay, well, maybe if I eat a little bit more. I kind of just went a little bit over, and then I gained a little bit extra fat than anybody else would, but I got, you know, a little bit extra weight on me faster. Right. So I can't really say like I gained like 30 pounds of muscle because that's absolutely crazy. But I gained a fair amount of muscle and a fair amount of fat at the same time.
Yeah, and you know what? After you finish a cut, you can like put on a lot of weight really quickly.
And I feel like a good like 5 to 7 pounds were just water, just from and my glycogen and everything kind of filling up after I got done with such a you know, what is it called? Like a cut, like a low cut. Like I cut to like a really low weight that I don't ever want to go back to per se because it was really, really low.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's my weight. Thank you.
Are you like 5'10", right?
Yeah, but I'm 175 right now.
That's probably where I'm gonna. Whenever I cut again, I'll probably cut to about 175.
In my last video, though, people are like, "Oh, why do you look less aesthetic, Greg? Why do you look worse?" I'm like, "Because I'm heavier. I'm not 167 anymore, or 168 when I'm just ripped." But cool, man. So I mean, so if you want to get down to like 8% body fat, how much do you think you're gonna drop? 12 pounds, or?
My goal is just to go from where I'm at just to 175 and see where that is. And if I look better like at 180 or like 179 or 178, then I'll stay there. But it's kind of just like
195 is big, man, for 5'11". That's
big, man.
Yeah. 180, 185. And you get back down there and you be like killing it. So dude, I want to ask you. So I mean, probably from the very beginning to now, you probably like 20 pounds of muscle bigger, 20 pounds of fat leaner.
Yeah, something around there.
What was your waist at in the very beginning? Do you remember?
I remember my waist was, because I remember I tried to do like some like bullshit body fat thing online, and I measured my waist. I think I was at like 33 when I first started.
33?
Like
That's
33, 34, yeah.
At 197?
At 197. This was like it.
No, it would have been way more. There's no way it was 33, 34.
I don't know. I'm just, ballparking it. I don't really remember. It was back in.
And you're 195, not 197.
Yeah, it was way back in March.
Yeah, no, it wasn't 33, 34.
All I know is that whenever I started like measuring my waist consistently, because you said, don't always look at the scale weight because it always changes when you're cutting. Yeah. Once I really started taking my waist, I was already around like 31, 30.
What are you now?
Like 32.
Yeah, because I think your thing is if you're 195 and you have a 34-inch waist, that's actually really good. That's actually pretty lean. When I was bulkier, a lot bulkier, I was like 190. My waist is probably 34.
Yeah, I remember.
Unless you just have some weird fat distribution, I'm guessing you measured it wrong, or maybe you're using your pant measurement or something. Which
I think it would
have been 36. Unless you weren't that fat, but like no, maybe it was 35.
Yeah.
No, I would probably say that like bare minimum from the very beginning, the last 10 months, you probably dropped at least 15 pounds of fat right to where you are now.
Yeah.
Gain 15 pounds of muscle. But then if you cut down those 15 pounds, you'd be at like the sharpest point. So we covered a lot. It's cool to hear about your results. Cool to hear about the whole process. And obviously one of the keys for you was just being absolutely diligent, knowing exactly what you're eating, hitting every workout, being consistent, fitting into your lifestyle, and obviously the approach of lifting 3 days a week, intermittent fasting makes that a lot easier. And a lot of people will say like, hey, like Greg, like your physique's on point, but all your transformations, they never get to your level. Well, no, you're a person that's on that level, and there's a hell of a lot more in those groups. So we're gonna get more on. There's another guy, who's like 45, who's more jacked than me. It's nuts. But so what was the biggest benefit to you for this transformation? What was the biggest tangible benefit you experienced from getting in shape and taking care of your health and fitness?
Just honestly, it was just the feeling of just being like feeling good, confident. I was able to have a better self-image of myself. I was able to go outside during the summer and like have a shirt off and feel like completely, awesome. Other than that, like ever since I started like getting stronger, it was just the constant feeling of always being able to lift heavier weights progressively every, 2 weeks. And it's a lifestyle, once you start getting into like a really, really healthy and, you have everything going for you and everything like that when you're young, it just feels like an unbelievable feeling. That's really all I can say. It's just the confidence and the self-image improved just amazingly. And I'm able to feel so much better when I talk to people. I'm able to go out, wear things that are a little bit tighter, because I don't feel like, I'm small or I'm like, not in shape. It's just a really, really good feeling overall. And I'm pretty sure that's what majority of people feel as well. It's just that instant boost of like everything.
Dude, it's amazing. It's amazing. And I remember when you posted those pictures in the Facebook group, people were freaking out. They're like,
yeah, I didn't really expect me to get that much attention because when I look at myself, I still don't think I'm at the level where I want to be at because it's always wanting to get progressively better and better and better. But I do think I made a pretty just crazy difference between where I started and where I'm at right now. And it's not all that good. There's like lighting and angles and things like that. They'll always skew what you really look like. But it's just the fact that you go from looking like this and looking like this, the stats don't lie,
Right.
My lifts went from, I remember I was barely able to get 50s for an incline and I just hit 90 this morning,
90 dumbbells. That's dope.
Yeah.
For like 6.
For 8 reps, yeah.
That's strong, man. Way to go. Yeah, so you went from 50-pound dumbbells to 90.
Yeah, so it's that
80-pound increase on both arms, 80-pound increase.
And I remember
shoulder press.
My shoulder press, I haven't been messing around with it too much because I got to a point where I think I was at like 160, 65 on the barbell for like 4 reps, and then I switched to dumbbells, and now I'm working up to about 90, so I'm at like 85 for about 4 or 5 reps.
You're really shoulder dominant because your shoulders are magically inclined, man. That's nuts.
Oh, yeah.
I know a couple guys like that, and it's ridiculous.
It's like I have big shoulders, but then absolutely zero biceps. My arm is mostly comprised of just my shoulders, and that's just
That's why I think your biceps are a lot better than you give yourself credit for. Because I've seen the pictures and everything, but I think now you focus a lot more on specialization. Like if you do the superhero bulking program, you focus on that arm phase, or like just use the chest specialization or the arm specialization. Just flip between those 2 phases to fill in those gaps.
And those incline dumbbell curls are killer, man.
Yeah.
They just demolish. That's one exercise I have to do like every day. I need to hit my arms. I will definitely do that because it's just such a great exercise. And it's one of
the Kino curls where you're leaning forward and curling it up to you, like where you support yourself on a bench and you're just here, so there's always tension. Have you tried those?
I have not actually. I had to stop doing barbell curls because I can't do this anymore with my wrist.
I don't do barbell. I kind of screwed up that was like part of the reason why I injured myself last year. Like,
Yeah.
5 different things all like conflating, and one of them was doing these super heavy barbell curls.
Mm-hmm.
You get a dumbbell and you support yourself on like a bench,
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, maybe the back of the bench is here, and you lean forward and you just do this curl. What you find is that there's always tension. Even here, your biceps have to work. When you're standing upright, then the biceps aren't working anymore. So I actually love the Kino curls, incline dumbbell curls.
Yeah, I want to try that actually.
Down, do lat pull down, do curls instead of a pull. Amazing pump in the arms.
Okay.
But
you have that in that you have that in one of your newer.
yeah, I did the exercise vault stuff, and I threw in all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone gets one of my courses, they get access to an exercise vault.
Exactly.
Well, dude, I think we killed this. Any final words that you want to say to people maybe that are watching the video that haven't really took the full step in and following the approach, and they're maybe they're not sure, like, oh, is this going to work for me, or oh, you know, is this intermittent fasting thing, train 3 days a week, is that really that effective? You know, what do you have to say to those people that are kind of on the fence that aren't really sure?
I'm gonna go into this a little bit really quick. Pretty much, my biggest takeaway from everything was just the fact that by getting the program, I made one step towards making myself better. I made one step towards learning more and trying to find the knowledge that I need to create the body that I want to have. And that's one thing that I've learned is by following what your programs laid out for me, I was able to go out and, you know, go on YouTube and learn even more, read articles like Muscle for Life and things like that, learn so much more knowledge with what you teach. And it's just an incredible thing, just learning more and be able to attribute it to, you know, your own transformation, what you're doing with yourself and how everything kind of ties in together. And the dedication and consistency is just, it's needed. It is 100% needed, because if there's people who lift for like 6 years, but they do like 1 year, then take like 4 months off, then do another year, and then, you know, take 7 months off, and they never consistent. And that's why they never look the way they want to look. And if you really, really want the body that you've always dreamed of, it's all it takes is taking that step, finding a program like yours that completely has everything laid out word for word. All you have to do is just put it into action, and then stay consistent, track everything, grab a scale if you have to, measure everything out. I remember that's one thing I had to do, is I'm still like that when I'm bulking. You just measure everything and just having everything there. So if you're, you know, not getting the results you want, like weight loss wise, you can look back and say, okay, I had this many calories, I ate this, I know what I need to change, you know?
It can't not work because you're focusing on those levers that actually create change. You're focusing on the levers that create fat loss, or eating the calories to build muscle. You're hitting the levers that build strength, which results in muscle growth. When you focus on the levers and not this bullshit like, oh, I'm going to do this, you know, this low carb paleo thing or this vegan.
Exactly.
Focus on the levers that actually make differences. You can't not succeed.
Exactly. 100%.
And the one thing I want to leave people with is that, you know what? Genetically, we're different in the sense that some people are fast responders, some people are slow responders. So someone like Josh, you know, he might jump on the program. He might make these really fast results in 5 months. For you, it might take you a year and a half. And so that's what I've noticed when I've had all these people go through the programs and have these crazy transformations. Genetically, we have fast responders and slower responders, and that's okay. Because
100%.
ultimately, if it took you another year to get to this level, would you have still done it?
Exactly.
Of course, you know, of course. And then also with as far as the fast and slow responders, probably part of being a fast responder is the fact that you went in 100%, and you didn't miss your workouts, you didn't screw up with your nutrition. I remember when I was doing a lot of my cutting a few years ago, it took me forever to get lean because I would keep screwing up until I had to really nail down my absolute best cutting philosophy, which is manifested into the courses and everything. But so, I mean, so people don't have to beat themselves up and expect to be like ripped in 2 or 3 months. It's going to take time, and that's plenty okay. I find that in general, people that get lean really easily have a harder time putting on strength and muscle, and people that put on strength and muscle really easily have a harder time getting lean.
Agreed.
So for me, I put on strength and muscle pretty easily, but then whenever I get lean, believe it or not, it's actually quite harder. It's pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's not going to be a fun time trying to cut down again, but it'll be worth it, you know.
Yeah, my other buddy Radu, Antonio, does his channel. He can diet, cut, eat low calories easily, but he has a harder time gaining strength and muscle than me. I can put on the strength and muscle, but then when it's time to drop the calories, I'm like, no, I don't want to.
Oh yeah.
So dude, thank you so much for coming on. If people want to connect with you, you're on Instagram, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. I'm gonna start having more inspiring and motivational and just more informational things, and just put it out there just for, you know.
So what's your Instagram?
From my experience.
What's your Insta?
Oh, it's just Joshua Painter. Just my name. No, yeah.
At Joshua Painter. You can check him out on Instagram. If you have one of the courses, if you're joining a course, you'll be able to see him in the Kinobody Facebook group, and he'll be in there. And so, you know, if you're lucky, then maybe he'll pop in and drop you a comment. And and that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching this. If you guys want to see more of these, then make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment. I want to get more people on that have gone through these courses and made amazing transformations from different stories and walks of life. And I will talk to you guys soon. All right. Hell yeah.